Hi guys, this is Miss Davidson. I am going to walk you guys through 5.01. This is a revising and editing selection. So remember with revising and editing, when you see these numbers in front, that means you don't necessarily have to read for like to understand everything. We're going to nitpick and we're going to go back and forth and kind of just look at the questions and see how the student needs help, okay? So question number 1 says, which sentence in the third paragraph is extraneous and should be deleted from the essay? 7, 8, 9, or 12. So one of these sentences is extra. We don't want to be extra. We just want the information that is needed in paragraph 3. So let's go look. Right here, which one doesn't belong? It says, over the years, as scientists studied the mammoths, they uncovered more information that altered their initial theories. This happens often due to new discoveries or additional data that lead to new theories. One initial theory was that the mammoth herd was trapped in a ravine and drowned in a flash flood. Because they are so large, the mammoths likely would have struggled to climb out of the ravine in time. This would have made it hard to survive the sudden flooding. However, as the scientists studied the fossils over several years, researchers discovered that the growth patterns on the bones appeared stunted, as though the animals did not have sufficient nutrition. Okay, so when you look at this, okay, and you try to figure out which one does not belong, remember typically our first sentence is going to be our topic sentence. It's going to be what the rest of the paragraph is about. Okay, and this one's talking about they uncovered more information that altered their starting theories. And then this happens often due to additional data that leads to the new theories. One initial theory was this. Adds to that, they would have struggled to climb out of the ravine in time. That's part of that initial theory, or that theory. And then this would have made it hard to survive. So this is a theory that is all being explained. And then sentence 12 says, however, as scientists studied the fossils over several years, researchers discovered that the growth patterns on the bones appeared stunted, as though they did not have sufficient nutrition. Okay, so which one of those options do you think is not needed? All right. Question 2 asks, what is the most effective way to combine sentences 7, I don't know where I got that, sentences 10 and 11. All right. Because they are so large, and the way I like to look at this is kind of see what the difference is. Because they are so large is the start of all of them with a comma. Okay. And then I see flooding right at the end. So it's the stuff in the middle that is different. Okay. A says, because they are so large, the mammoths likely would have struggled climbing out of the ravine in time, surviving the sudden flooding. These ing words, this creates a different type of phrase, and usually there's commas surrounding it. So I think we might need some more punctuation in here, okay? This one says, because they are so large, the mammoths likely would have struggled to climb out of the ravine in time, surviving the sudden flooding. There's a comma. Okay, so between these two, this one's the better choice. Let's keep looking. Because they are so large, the mammoths likely would have struggled to climb out of the ravine in time and to survive the sudden flooding. Okay, so this one has a comma. And after this and, I don't see a second subject. Okay, so I don't think that comma is needed. They would have struggled to climb out of the ravine and survive. Okay, that's just two things. We don't need a comma there. Let's look at D. Because they are so large, the mammoths likely would have struggled to climb out of the ravine in time to survive the sudden flooding. Okay, that one sounds pretty good too. So between these two, which one do you think is the best option? All right, question 3. Zendaya would like to add another detail in the 5th paragraph. Although the temperatures were only slightly different, the changes may have greatly affected rainfall, soil, and plant and animal growth, ultimately leading to the mammoth's death. Where is the best place to insert this sentence? Okay, and it's after which one of these? So before, the sentence before will likely be talking about temperatures. Okay, so let's go look. Sentences 20 to 24. Weiss's team discovered their theory after they carefully studied the mammoth's bones and saw tooth marks made from rodents and holes created by scavenger beetles. I don't think it should go there. Researchers believe the holes and tooth marks on the bones provided evidence that the bones were not immediately buried by sediment or by water. Rather, they had been exposed to the elements for a long time. Okay. The malnourished condition of the mammoth seemed to support Weiss's drought theory. Further testing also suggested the mammoths had died when Central Texas was in a cool period, about 7 degrees cooler on average than today. Okay. So there's something about temperature. Let's look at 24. This leading theory about the fate of the Waco mammoth herd is not supported by all researchers, but it is one of the most highly regarded suggestions about what happened to the animals. So 23, in a cool period, 7 degrees cooler than on average today, although the temperatures were only slightly different. Okay, so what do y'all think? Where should this one go? All right. Question 4 says the pronoun in sentence 27 is unclear. Which word or phrase should replace them to create a more effective sentence? So what is them referring to? The woolly mammoths, tourists, teenagers, or Baylor kids? Okay. Let's look at them in sentence 27. Who is it referring to? I'm going to go back one to 26. In the 1990s, a climate-controlled shelter was erected over the paleontology site, and in 2015, the site was named Woolly Mammoth National Monument. Research is still ongoing, and lucky visitors can see them actively excavating bones and conducting soil tests. So who is excavating bones? Can see them excavating bones. Okay, who's going to be the ones doing that? And question 5, Zendaya would like to add a concluding sentence to her essay that restates her thesis. Which sentence should she add at the end to accomplish this goal? Well, in order to do that, I need to kind of go up to the top to look see what her thesis originally was. Okay. Imagine taking a walk in the woods to search for arrowheads when all of a sudden you stumble across an enormous bone jutting out of the ground. That's exactly what happened in 1978 when 2 19-year-olds discovered a mammoth bone. At first, the teens did not realize they had found the remains of one of the mammoth herds. Baylor paleontologist confirmed 16 mammoths. Researching how the mammoths ended up in this particular location, for many years, paleontologists believed the mammoths were killed by a sudden catastrophe. However, new discoveries helped researchers determine the mammoths died more slowly. Interesting. Okay, so this is what she's going to talk about, okay? That's interesting. I've been there, and I'm like, I thought they said nothing but it was a sudden catastrophe at the woolly mammoth site, if y'all have been there in Waco. Anyway, okay, so restating that thesis. Which would be a good concluding sentence? The mystery of what happened to the woolly mammoths at Waco remains a total mystery to researchers and everyone else. Well, I don't think it's a total mystery. I think they have clues, so let's scratch that one. A complete skeleton of a woolly mammoth was recently discovered by a farmer in one of his fields in Michigan. That's new information. We don't want that. So what about the last two? There is no conclusive evidence. With continued research, scientists hope that one day they will know the specific cause of why the mammoths perished. Or Waco has many other interesting places to visit, such as the campus of Baylor, Magnolia Market, and the Cameron Park Zoo. All right, so which one of those do you think is the best option? The best option I do actually think has punctuation errors, but I think there's 2 sentences there. You need not just all the commas, but anyways, which one do you think is the best? All right, thanks guys for following along. I hope this helped.